Who do you like? Aaliya, take one. Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to So Who Do You Like? And today we have Aaliya with us.
Hello.
We're so excited to have her. And I want to jump right in and I want to ask you, you wear a lot of hats, you do a lot of things. So if I was to ask you, who is Aaliya? What is that answer for you? What does that look like?
Aaliya is Aaliya. There's no one quite like her.
Let's talk about all the things you do though.
Okay.
You work a job.
Yes, I work a full-time marketing job at, I'm going to be flashy, Universal Pictures Studios, publicity and promotions.
So fun.
And I also help my husband a lot with his dance company, Exodus Artistry, and I am also his wife, which is a job to me.
Job.
It's a job.
Yeah.
I don't know about full time. And then I am a dog mom.
You are.
And I'm a Bangladeshi Muslim girl who is, you know, living her life, and that is a lot.
You're also kind of this like influencer hub. Like your Instagram is like, if you don't follow her. Socials in the link down below. But you have this like huge Instagram following that is like all these people wondering the randomest things about you.
That's a side effect of my husband and my dog.
Okay.
More importantly, my dog. But now that I do have a big following because of that, I'm trying my best to give whatever advice that I think is relevant to people's lives. And I mean, I don't think they should listen to me. I don't listen to myself. So I just sort of give unsolicited advice and then just let it happen. Just, you know, cause chaos and run away.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, so her husband is Rohit and me and my sister, obviously, we're family friends. So that's how we met. That's how I met you. I know my sister knows you through other people, but I did, when I first met you, I noticed that you had talked about your fitness journey, and you were on this fitness journey. Explain a little bit about how that went for you, and like what was it like to coming to that realization that like health is the most important thing here, not being skinny or something like material like that.
Of course, it was a while ago. I was always a skinny girl growing up, that skinny brown girl who never fit into her clothes right, but as my dance training went on, I started working out with like a physical trainer, and I was working long hours and practicing long hours, so I built a lot of muscle. However, when I went to college, I stopped dancing. I didn't stop dancing completely, but I stopped doing intense dance, and I kept eating the way that I was. I wasn't exercising as much as I used to, and I gained about like 30 pounds, maybe a little bit more. And it was very obvious between like my senior year and my first year of college. And my mom would always be like, you know, you're not looking good, you're not looking healthy, what is wrong with you? You have to eat less and all that stuff, you have to work out more. And I was like, I was dancing a lot, and I was not finding any motivation to do any strength training or anything. I'm not a gym girl, so I didn't really want to do that. But as the years went on, I was stressing out a lot because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I was in pre-law, and it wasn't giving me any joy. It wasn't sparking anything inside of me. And as the years of school went on, I started to like think about more of what I wanted to do in life, what I want to be, and I started working out a little bit just to get my mind off of school. Yeah. And I started realizing that as I'm distracting myself with things that I like, I was actually finding myself looking a little bit healthier. And that wasn't even weight. It was more like my skin was getting clearer. I was getting more happy. And then people were actually getting attracted to my personality at that point. And I was like, oh, people actually like me. And, and that gave me a little bit of confidence, gave me a little bit more push to work out a little bit more. And I wasn't working out hours. It was 1 hour, 3 days a week. Yeah. But I drastically lost a lot of weight actually after I exited college because I went into politics and I hated it. And I decided, I was like, nope, this is not for me. I'm going to figure out something else. And that was the start of everything, because I drastically lost so much weight, and I realized the burden that was on me mentally was really making me feel super unhealthy. Absolutely. And I was honestly eating my feelings, and I was not working out the right way. It was all changed after I realized what I wanted to do, and I went into art school, and I just all around became much more mentally stable.
Yeah.
And I lost 30 pounds. I became the way that I used to be, but then I got this backlash that I wasn't expecting, where all my friends were like, oh my God, are you anorexic? Are you not eating?
Not eating.
And these are my college friends, so they never really saw me that way.
Before,
they never saw me how I used to be. So they were like, you are suddenly skinny. And I was like, hurt by that, just because it was my own personality was sort of being attacked in my head, because I was like, I would never be anorexic. And I felt like I was a mentally strong person, so I sat with that for a few weeks until I like thought about what happened and what changed and why I was able to feel healthier and return back to my natural body. And I realized it had a lot to do with mental health.
Absolutely.
And I talked to my sister every day about it, and she was like, you know what, like, now that you're not doing law, and now that you're actually on a path where you see yourself growing up and being happy, I'm seeing a lot of changes in you, and that is the reason why you are becoming more confident in your own body, mentally and physically.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I think
a journey.
And it always is, and I think it's never like, when you try to focus on it too much and you're like, I need to lose this weight, like your brain is kind of like, no. Like it holds on to it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I realized, because I'm always on this fitness journey, and I realized when I was trying super, super hard, my body was like rejecting it. Mm-hmm. But then when I was just like, I'm just gonna eat when I'm hungry, chill.
Yeah.
I'm a big gym girl, so I like love that. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna work out when I want to, which is a lot. But I'm going to eat what I want. Yeah. Like, eat at home, just eat when I'm hungry. Yeah. That's when my body was kind of like, okay, we don't really need this extra weight, and we don't need this. Like, maybe more muscle. Like, your body knows so much more than you give it credit to know.
Yeah. Listening to your body is number one.
Yeah, but you don't learn that until you're so much older. Like,
in college, we were eating so much trash.
Absolute
we were eating
shit.
So much trash. We were eating McDonald's, Taco Bell, Jack in the Box. Sorry if you're not getting sponsors from them because of this video, but you know, it's just we were eating so bad. So when I moved back home, and my mom, she wasn't cooking like salads. Yeah, she was cooking Indian ghee wala oily food. So it wasn't healthy per se, but it was still home cooked food.
No, but it's so interesting because I read somewhere that some Indian dietitian was saying that like, if you want to lose weight in your adulthood, go back to what you were eating when you were a kid. So I actually, when I moved out, I started making like dal and rice and roti and rajma, stuff like that. Like, I literally eat that like 6 days a week because that's what makes me feel the best. Like, that's what makes me feel like I've eaten properly. And like, salads are nice, but it's like, I didn't grow up eating salads. So for me, it's like cold lettuce. You know what I mean? I'm just like, okay, this is fun, but not that fun. Like, I want to feel proper, and I can have like I'd rather have like a bowl of rice and some lentils and something like that, like sabzi.
I literally cringed when you said salad, and then my whole body relaxed when you started mentioning dal and chawal.
I can have like roti, like I'll literally like put like some sabzi in a roti, like wrap it and just eat it. Like that's fine with me. It makes me feel good. But I want to talk a little bit about, I saw recently on your Instagram story, you were talking about how your face with a filter versus without a filter, skin, and how you like, we're so attuned to seeing like curated versions of ourselves. Like, how do you feel like a sort of responsibility because of the following you have to like be honest and open about that kind of stuff?
200%. I mean, I don't think I would have ever done the unfiltered version of myself if I just had my friends following me, because they know me, they see me,
they see you,
they know that I don't look like that. But some people were starting to message me saying, oh my God, your skin looks so perfect, your foundation looks so perfect, it looks beautiful. And I'm like, guys, like, it's a filter. Like, I am having the same skin struggles as you guys. I'm having the same, maybe even worse than some of you. I mean, this whole half of my face has been suffering for the last year for some reason, ever since I went to India, actually. And I cover it up with makeup, and there's a lot of times that I look at myself in the camera, and I'm like, oh my God, if they see me, they're going to comment on how bad I look. So to sort of shield myself, I put the filter on. But then I saw that a lot of people were messaging me saying they want to look like me, and I'm like, you do already look like me. Like, you guys have to understand, you probably look like Kareena Kapoor, that you just don't know that Kareena Kapoor actually looks like you.
That's interesting. Actually, I've never heard anybody say it that way.
Yeah, I mean, these actresses,
they're exactly like
they
us.
look exactly like us, and sometimes you catch them in the magazine sort of looking without the no makeup look, and I'm like,
you're like, oh, that's
exactly how I look when I wake up. So makeup is wonderful. Like, makeup is really awesome, and I always encourage like experimenting with makeup and wearing makeup, but at the end of the day, you should never feel like obligated, someone's more beautiful than you because they know how to change their face more than you.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's why I do feel a little bit obligated to show my unfiltered self from time to time. But again, like, I will do it for one post and then I'll go back to the filter because you always want to look at yourself beautifully. Like, you want to look at yourself being perfect on the screen. Yeah,
absolutely. For those of you who don't know, she and her husband, they post dance videos all the time, and I'm sure you get like lots of positive energy from people, but I'm sure you also get the same amount of negativeness. Is that kind of like, do you guys sit together and just kind of like laugh it off? Does it actually hurt you? Because I know that there's, first of all, hours of rehearsal that go into this and different styles that you guys are maybe not familiar with. You have to perfect and technique and the amount of rehearsal and all that kind of stuff. Like, do you feel hurt when people say mean stuff, or do you feel kind of like, okay, it's fine, with love comes hate? I mean, what's your mindset? And
I think it depends on the comment, because there are some negative comments that do hurt us, or they not necessarily hurt us, but they affect us negatively. And we know, like, and I always feel the urge to respond to negative comments, but I stop myself because I read every single comment, like, every single comment I will read. We're not that famous that I can't keep up with the comments. So I read every single comment, and I don't know why, but like, I just don't have the energy to respond to all the positive comments, and that's amazing. I'm grateful for that we have so many positive comments that I can't respond to them. I think it kind of helps us when we get negative comments, because sometimes I find myself thinking negatively about someone else, and I have to stop myself because I'm like, you're judging that person just like that other person judged you. So it's sort of putting myself in the other person's shoes.
Absolutely.
So it's helping me grow as a person. So I welcome the negative comments.
Oh, absolutely.
I welcome the haters. But then again, like, there's some that get me very angry, and I have the need to respond to them, especially if they're publicly commenting.
If they're like accusing you of something, then it's kind of like, okay.
Accusing, and then if they say something along the lines of like, oh, why did you marry the enemy of India, or the enemy of Muslims, or something like that, then I find the obligation to comment to them and say, this is not how the world thinks, this is not how the world should think, this is not how I think, because I think my public response also means something to my followers. I always told Rohit, I was like, we should not change anything about our videos, we should keep going until we find more negativity than positivity.
I think that's a good rule of thumb. Because I think that people really like what you guys do, and it's something so fun and positive. In the times of like COVID, where it's like everyone's kind of baking banana bread and sad, and I think you guys like have this like positive energy, and that's, as long as you're putting positive content into the world, like, what is there to be complacent about and be annoyed about?
There's no harm on putting out content, as long as you're not putting out harmful content.
So I want to talk a little bit about, you have an interfaith marriage, you are Muslim, your husband is Hindu, and I want to talk a little bit about what that means to people on the internet. Like, do people come for you? Are they like in support of you? Are they asking you for advice? Like, because I know that no matter how much we've progressed as a community, that is still such a red conversation and taboo subject to talk about. Do you find yourself kind of like defending yourself, or do you feel like it's a lot of love? I mean, how does that play for you? And did you know that when you were gonna say yes to him and get married and do all these things, did you ever expect to have to answer these kind of questions? Like, forget family, it's like your followers and people.
I luckily don't get a lot of hate for marrying Rohit. But I think that the large reason is because the people who do hate on us are not necessarily following us. Not necessarily following dance Instagrams, if you know what I mean. I think I do receive a couple of side insults. A little bit. Especially when our nikah went down, because it's commonly known that nikahs are usually not performed when the girl is Muslim and the guy is not Muslim. However, we were lucky enough to find an imam that was able to marry us under Allah and do the nikah and everything. So I got some questions about that, like how is that allowed? It's not in the Quran and all that stuff. And I was like, there's nothing in the Quran that says I can't marry a Hindu. It's in the Quran that I can't marry an enemy. And Rohit's not my enemy, so far from it.
I love that.
But I do receive a lot of questions from young girls like me who are in the same situation as I found myself in, and they have so many questions about how my parents accepted the relationship and how his parents accepted it and how I've been reacting to the community backlash and everything. And I have told all of them that I am very lucky that I don't have to deal with a lot of stuff. It's because my older sister had to deal with it all before me. Right. My older sister had an interfaith marriage as well with a non-South Asian guy. On top of that, he is black.
Okay, interesting.
So they still have to deal with a lot of interesting racial, I don't want to say prejudices, because I don't think they're intentionally being racist.
It's just the fear of the unknown. It's like something new. People in our community tend to be like, no, this is not it, just because they've never experienced it, and that doesn't mean it's a bad experience to have. It's not a bad experience to have. And she loves him, and he's amazing. He's better than her. Don't let my sister say that. He's better than her.
But he is. But it took a long time for my parents to get over it. And the fight that she had to fight was very serious and very hard. And she had a lot of strength. And it was only because he was just as strong, if not stronger than her, and helped her through it. But I always remind everyone who asks me about how I got through this, I tell them about my sister, and I say, listen, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a hard fight. I was 7 years old when she did this, and I understood that nothing was going right in the world at that time in my family. So I get a lot of questions, and I always tell them.
How many years apart are you? And
we're 13 years apart.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
So she was kind of like a second mom, but she had to go to college when I was 5. So I kind of grew up without her, and she was disowned for like 5 years. So she wasn't there, but she's definitely back in our family. Totally, and she's a huge part of my life. Yeah, a huge part of me. And I've told everybody who's asked me, like, you need to be strong, you need to be sure of your relationship, because I think that's what we lose track of. Like, I think if we're
two people, is what matters more than external factors, as I like to call it.
And I'm like, just show your parents the world around us. Just because a guy is Muslim doesn't mean he's good. Just because a girl is Muslim doesn't mean she's good. And there's been tons of Muslim marriages in our community that have broken. And I think that also helped my parents understand sort of better, like,
but you
it's
have
faith
in people. You don't have faith in their religions. Like, I think that's something that the Desi community is so unaware of. It's like, oh, but he's part of our caste, or he's part of our religion, or he grew up next to us. And I'm like, he could still be the worst. Like, he could, and that's okay. And that just the fact that two people make sense to each other, like, isn't that what stands the test of time? Like,
it's lost on our parents.
Yeah, exactly. It's absolutely.
And I was talking about this with one of my other friends who's going through the same thing right now, and I told her, I was like, what we can't do is we can't be extra, for lack of a better word, extra mean to our moms. Because my dad he didn't really care. He was like, whatever happens, happens. If you're happy, you're happy. But he did support my mom in her decisions, and my mom decided not to accept it. So he was like, well, I would kill myself for your mom, so I'm going to follow whatever she says blindly. And he still does that to this day. But my mom had said all of this to my sister because not only was he not Muslim, he was not Indian at all, he's not South Asian. It was also when she was 21 years old, so she was young. And I think what my mom had issue with was that she was young, and our moms grew up in a completely different environment than us, and they have a view of marriage that we don't have. Marriage has changed from when they were married. Has
changed from 10 years ago. Like, gender roles, for example, have changed so much. And and I feel like there's no such thing anymore. It's kind of like, just be an equal duo. Like, whatever it is, it's equal.
Which are some of the parents don't understand. So when their daughter is going to go marry someone of a different religion or a different, even like culture, they think that they're losing their daughter to that religion or culture because they themselves would have lost themselves if they married into a different religion or culture.
Absolutely.
And because they think in their generation, the wife was submissive to the husband, which was a generational thing, unfortunately. But now that is not the case, and I would never lose my faith. I would never lose my religion. My religion is very personal.
And it should be to everyone. I think.
It should be to everyone. It shouldn't be something.
You should never have to prove it to other people. Like, this is how religious I am, or not. Like, it's about you. It's about you and yourself and your faith.
It's about your person, and then it's about the other person being a good person. If your values match, then why care about who you pray to, as long as what you're praying for is the same?
That's so true. Absolutely.
It was all of that, and I try and tell that to all the girls who ask me these questions, and I'm like, it's going to differ from people to people. Like, I can't give you a straight answer of how it's going to go and whether you're going to be happy for the rest of your life, or whether the right decision is to
for marriage.
I'm not going to tell you that you're going to go for it. You're going to be okay at the end. Leave your parents. They'll come back in 5 years. I don't know what your parents are going to be like.
Exactly.
So I think the most important piece of advice that I give them is that be sure that you're 100% about your partner.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the only thing you really need to search within yourself. And if you believe that you love him and that he loves you, or if she loves you, whatever, then you can fight anything together.
Absolutely.
And that means it's worth it.
It's beautiful.
Fighting it. Yeah. So and I asked my sister, I was like, would you, now knowing everything that you went through, because she went through depression, she went through...
No, it's so hard.
I mean, she went through so much when she was cut off, and I was like, would you... She didn't talk to me, and I was like, would you do this again if you knew what was going to happen? And she was like, 100%.
There's parts of your life that, you post on social media, parts of being married, because, okay, let's be honest, like, being married is not easy. It's not a walk in the park.
No.
Compromises, relationships are hard. And now I kind of feel like on YouTube, on TikTok, on everything, it's like everybody's always showing everything. Mm-hmm. And I think recently people are like, maybe we should be dating in private. Maybe we should be kind of not posting everything for everyone to see.
Yeah.
And I think, like, social media is interesting because it's become such, like, paparazzi culture where you're your own paparazzi and you're always like, I'm on a date and I'm hanging out with these people and this is everything. You're just documenting everything to everyone all the time. Are there parts of your relationship that you're, like, you both kind of are like, no, we're not going to post this? And obviously that's not, like, day-to-day things, but it's like, are there parts of your life that you're more protective of, and you're just kind of like, okay, like, we can keep this off? Like, maybe your parents, for example, like, I don't like to post my parents hyper on social media just because they're not like that, and I like the time that we have together. I like to be present with it.
Right.
And there's different families, like, everyone's so different.
Yeah.
But are there parts of your relationship that the two of you are kind of like, we don't need to discuss this in depth on Instagram?
I think we're learning as we go, because to answer the last part of your question, we didn't expect, we didn't see this following coming. We thought Rohit will grow in his following for his dance, but we never expected to grow in following because of
it's like a social media couple.
Yeah. And we, by far, don't have a perfect relationship. And I think the specifics of our relationship, of why we may disagree on some things, I think those are the things that we keep private.
Yeah.
And we try and... I mean, obviously, we're not going to fight on camera. We'll have, small fights.
Get out of here.
I know, I think I even thought about this the other day when Rohit and I were in a fight, and I was like, that would be so weird if we had a reality TV show documenting this.
Yeah.
Because I don't...
How do you remain authentic? That's my question. It's like, you're fighting, but you're kind of fighting for the camera.
Exactly.
So you're like,
and I'm
not saying everything you want to say.
Huge fan of 90 Day Fiancé.
Oh, really?
For those people who don't know what it is, it's a reality TV show, and you must watch it.
I hate reality with, a burning passion.
Oh, but I love 90 Day Fiancé. It's because there's so much drama.
Oh, okay. Love that.
It's too much drama.
They put too much drama in my real life where I'm like, I don't need this. I don't need to watch other people's drama I'm not watching.
I love watching other people's drama because it makes me feel sane.
That's fair.
Yeah, and I was watching them and I was like, I don't know how it'd feel if a camera crew was in our house filming the things that I'm saying to Rohit. And I think it's very true, when you're in a fight with your significant other, you may say things that you don't mean.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, if that's public, then you get berated on social
and nobody
media.
Forgets it. Then it's like, remember that time? And you're like, wait, I don't even remember that time.
And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's like all of a sudden Aaliya is a man hater or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know what I said. Like,
then, I never said anything.
Exactly. So I've always just been like, that would never be okay with us because like it's not scripted when we fight, obviously. So anything like that, I think we would keep private.
Social media is interesting, and what you do is interesting too, because dance is so subjective and it's so different. And do you find yourself ever comparing yourself to other people? And how do you kind of talk yourself down from that, where it's like, no, this is not healthy. Like, you know, I did what I could have, I did well.
It happens to everyone, but I think I heard someone say it, but the only reason we may like look at someone and feel jealous of them is because we're insecure in ourselves and our own abilities.
Absolutely.
And that's how I pull myself back in. And I'm like, first of all, like, I always try and remind everyone that dance is not my career. And it's something that I love and it's my passion, but I have not chosen it as a career. So I don't train in it and I don't take the time to practice. And if I did, I would be judging myself a lot more.
I think that's a lie, because you do practice and you do work very hard. So I'm not gonna. I understand that it's not your full-time profession.
Yes, it's not.
You work at it so much. So I will give you credit. I think you're wrong there. I think you try so. I mean, I feel like you're always working hard and pushing your boundaries and trying different styles and songs that maybe you wouldn't have normally. And it's, you know what, you have to remember, I think a lot of people we're Desi kids, right? All of us grew up either like singing, dancing, or playing tabla, or all three. Yeah. And like most of us abandoned, most people abandoned that talent post high school. It's like, I put it on my resume, I got into college, and now I don't care. Or they'll like join a bunger team, and then it's like after that, it's over, and it never happened again. And so in that regard, you are not like some random person that's like, oh, I'm going to put it to neon and dance in my room. Like,
no. Definitely, I do put myself above the people who are just dancing in their room. Yeah. I do put myself higher standards than that. I hope so. I think the difference is that I follow so many full-time dancers. Oh, yeah. So my feed is full of people who train every day. I look at them and I say, like, you know what, if I practiced my Aramandi, which is like my bending my knees and my Bharatanatyam, every single day, then I would be as good as them. But I don't. And that's my choice to not practice. So obviously I'm not going to be as good as them. Absolutely. I think that's how I pull myself back. And like, I can't do the splits. I'm not flexible. I can't do 8 chukkers in a row, even though Rohit makes me. But I think that's where we have to be okay with ourselves. Yeah. And we may not be like the best dancer, but we're good at other things and we're good at well-rounded ourselves.
Okay, so I want to switch gears into something a little more fun, because we had only serious conversations. Okay. So what is the like weirdest or like funniest message you've received? Like, have you ever received one that you were just like, what is going on with this? Like,
I mean, like, there's been people who've like sworn their love to me and stuff, but I mean,
that's kind of funny. That's
like
funny.
Every day.
So, me.
I mean, there's people who ask me to criticize their videos. Oh, no. And they're not covers of our dances. They're just dances.
Just general videos.
They're just general dances, and I always feel that's a little odd. But
that's definitely odd.
Yeah, right? Like, people who do that don't.
Yeah, because it puts you in such an awkward position. You can't be like, hey, you suck. If there's something you could change about the Desi dance influencer circuit, what would that be for you?
The necessity to learn every single style there is, or to master it, to mix styles.
You think they shouldn't?
I think sometimes there's mixes and ways of choreography that are offensive, and I think there should be a lot more thought into them if they're going to do it. It's
like Bharatanatyam and sneakers types?
That kind of types, but there's people who do it who have a lot of thought behind it, and there's people who do it ignorantly. And I think the ignorant part is the part that I would want to change. I mean, there are people who do it with that creative thought, and they say, like, this is the reason why I chose this creative decision. But then there's also other people who just say, I heard a mix and I thought it was hot, so I did some Bharatanatyam to a WAP song. And I'm like, Like, I don't understand.
I didn't even realize. Yeah, there are things like that where you're like, maybe don't do that.
Yeah, and if there was some kind of creative decision and they were like, I thought this was sexual freedom or something like that, then maybe, but there was no. It was just ignorant, like, you know what would be good with this? Like a Takademi would be great with the WAP song. And I'm like, ugh.
If you could go back to any 90s, early 2000s Bollywood character and play her, is there any dance or video or something that you were like, I wish I was that person. I wish I had been in it at that time?
Yeah, I think, let me think about the 90s for a second.
Not necessarily 90s, like, or even early 2000s is fine. Something iconic.
I mean, like,
whatever you think is iconic.
I mean, it's not funny, but like, I wish I was Paro in Devdas.
Wait, deadass?
Yeah, I loved her character, and I didn't understand it when I first watched it. Then when I watched it the second time, I fell in love with it even more because I watched it when I was older, and I found a lot more substance to it than I did when I was younger. I was like, what is happening?
She's pretty, whatever.
Devdas is dying. She's running. What's happening? Yeah. But then, like, I saw a lot more, and I felt a lot more with her character, so I related a lot to her.
I always think it's crazy because I'm like, there's songs that we grew up watching that we didn't even know, but you knew all the words. Yeah. You don't understand shit about it. Yeah. And then you get older and you're like, wait, this is so dark. Yeah. Like, what is going on?
That's true.
Okay, so the final question is the most important question. The question is, who do you like? We know you like Rohit, but besides Rohit, what do you like? You like TV? What do you listen to? Music? You like your doggy? Well,
I love my doggy.
You can't say dog and you can't say Rohit because we know you love them both.
Okay.
Who do you like? What are you into right now?
Who do I like? I've recently dug up my old Spotify playlist from like high school.
What were we listening to then?
I was listening to The Main. And Time Flies and Every Avenue.
Are you good?
I was listening to a lot of alternative rock. It was a lot of alternative rock. A lot of Jesse McCartney.
Were you guys good? What was going on?
It was a lot of angst. I had a crush.
Beautiful soul.
I mean, this actually goes a lot with So Who Do You Like? Because I had someone that I liked.
Okay.
It was the only other brown kid in my high school.
Oh, no.
In my grade. And I liked him. And I thought that I was going to be with him for the rest of my life. But we were never really together. It's so embarrassing. But
I fell in love with like a new boy every week in high school. I was like, this hafte you are going to date me, and the next week I'd be like, never mind, I hate you.
No, I liked one boy.
I'm still doing that, but okay. Every week I'm like,
it's the way to live.
I love you, just kidding. Yeah.
Usually I listen to Indian music. That's like my first love.
What kind of Indian music do you listen to?
I listen to a lot of slow, sappy songs.
Same. Arjit Singh.
Yeah. Like Javed Ali and just like.
Oh, love. KK.
I'm obsessed with like random ass Umrao Jan songs.
Those are good ass songs.
And I'm like, wow, what lyrics? And then I listen to something like Badshah and I'm like, pagal hai, pagal hai, pagal hai. And I'm still into it.
You're like, what lyrics?
And I'm like, what lyrics too? Like, it's
fine.
The thoughts that you associate with different songs will always be there. So I still listen to some songs and sometimes I feel like bad because I'm like, oh my god, I'm married to Rohit now. But like,
but you're like,
I'm still thinking about the guy that I was with when I was listening to that song. And I'm like, it puts you in
mood. When Aditi and I moved to the city, we had like a certain playlist that we would play a lot, like 5 songs that we just kept listening to because they had just come out. Yeah. And then the other day we were like listening to it and we were like, doesn't it feel like winter, like it's summer? But we were like, doesn't it feel like we're like about to go to work or like do whatever we were gonna do? Like it puts you in that mood.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. I was just listening to the Bruno Mars song. It's like, you should have brought me flowers.
Oh yeah.
And I was thinking about my ex and I was like, you should have brought me flowers.
Yeah, and now you're married to someone else. So bring your girl flowers.
And now he does bring me flowers and he does take me to every party because he knows I like to dance.
That's amazing.
And that's what I think about when I listen to that song.
Wow, your ex didn't do any of those things.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, now I can
now
sing
you found someone who did.
I did. And now that song means so much more to me. Because before I was thinking about it, I was like, I hope he does bring me flowers. Now I know he does.
Now you know that he does. You wouldn't have chosen.
He doesn't bring me flowers though because I don't like flowers.
What do you mean? So what does he do?
He brings me chai.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, it's chai over
If
flowers.
I didn't get like
That's
severe
in a t-shirt
heartburn,
somewhere.
I would want that also.
Yeah.
That's who I am.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Of course.
For being
this
on
was
this.
really fun.
I'm so glad people get to know you a little bit better.
I hope I didn't say anything offensive to anyone.
You definitely didn't. Do not
Because-
send her covers of you guys dancing to other people's choreo or your own.
I mean-
she has nothing to say but positive affirmation.
I can't give you anything critical because I'm not that type of person.
Okay. I love that for you. You don't have to be that person.
I'm not a judge. All
Send
my
it to
friends
me.
are laughing at me right now, and Rashi's even laughing. She's like, this bitch is a liar.
Send it to me. I'll tell you what I think. I'll say, Gande se bhi ganda you have danced. This is horrible. Quit your job now.
I mean, none of them are actual job dancers.
No, just quit your job. Just quit.
So no matter what you do, quit it.
You're a doctor. Just quit.
If you're a doctor, also if you're a doctor, go do doctor things. Stop stealing business from us dancers, you know? And then my last like, controversial thought.
Controversial thought. If you're a doctor, don't do anything creative. Aaliya does not support.
Stop taking my salary, man. That's all I say.
That's so funny. Well, thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.